CNN town hall with Bernie Sanders and AOC hosted by Caitlin Collins. You got to wonder, the Democratic establishment seems so angry with the idea of progressives in their ranks. They are fielding a 78-year-old candidate who will be 79 years old on the day that she is sworn in Maine, despite the fact that Graham Plattner has, as she enters the race, is still outpolling her directly and in terms of Collins. You got to wonder why there's no sort of like Democratic establishment figures who are out there making this case about the government shutdown. We are on day 17. And here is Bernie Sanders and AOC. This is, let's start with the first one. The idea of Russ Vought, who, if you listen to this program for any amount in the run-up, particularly to the inauguration, you heard a lot about Russ Vought and Project 2025's plans. Listen to this clip.
Crisis that they've created.
Okay, so you think Republicans will come to the table sooner rather than later. The White House has not indicated as much, and today the budget director, Russ Vought, said that north of 10,000 federal workers could be laid off during this government shutdown. Does that make Democrats rethink their strategy at all?
I don't think so. I think that what Russ Vought just announced today in the laying off of federal workers, we learned today a judge has put a temporary restraining order because it is likely illegal what he and the Trump administration is doing. The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our health care, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in, that jacking up the costs of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people. And we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today.
So
if I could just add to something, Alexandria.
Go ahead, Senator.
This is the cynicism of the Speaker of the House. Where are your Republican colleagues tonight? They're back here in Washington negotiating?
That's an excellent question, Bernie. Right now, House Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Even Senate Republicans, I believe, are still in Washington, D.C. The only people who are not in Washington, D.C. are the over 200 elected Republicans in the House of Representatives, because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, refuses to call the House in session. He refuses.
Yeah, that's a great point, bringing that up. All Democrats should be screaming about that.
And also anybody who's interested in the idea of getting these Epstein files released. I mean, this is a twofer for Mike Johnson, and he is terrified. And we'll talk more about this with Digby. She's written a piece on this. But he's terrified, I think, of the government shutdown ending, because then he loses his excuse for having dismissed all of Congress so that he can pretend like he can't swear in Gravalha, the elected congressperson from New Mexico, Arizona. Sorry.
But she also, with the attorney general in Arizona, is threatening to sue the government because on the basis of fair representation, because right now her constituents have no representation, and that is unconstitutional. And by the way, they'll use this example of Nancy Pelosi not seating somebody during the COVID era. These were COVID era restrictions that caused that delay. It's not what they're actively doing here, which is to keep the Epstein cover up going.
And just a reminder, the reason why this is protects the Epstein files is that a couple of Republicans and all the Democrats are willing to sign what is known as a discharge petition, which can force a bill to the floor without the approval of the Speaker of the House. So that's what's going on there. Here is a second clip from that AOC Bernie Sanders town hall talking about what's going to happen with the ACA in just a really matter of weeks at this point in terms of like massive increases in health insurance that's going to bleed through the entire system. I mean, everybody's going to see we're used to health insurance rising in cost each year, but the rate in which it rises is going to go back up. Here is part two.
Hi. On the issue of healthcare, a lot of the clinics and hospitals that are negatively affected the most under the One Big Beautiful Bill are located in rural, mostly Republican areas. A lot of the increases in Affordable Care Act premiums that Democrats are fighting to prevent are concentrated in more rural Republican areas. If the Republicans are so insistent on sticking it to their own voters on this issue, why don't the Democrats just let them?
I mean, I think Alexandria touched on this before, and that is, we are, one of the things, and this really annoys me about Trump, he's dividing this country. Why would I not? When we hit the road, we were in Idaho, right? It's the most conservative state in America, I think. We had many thousands of people coming out. We are Americans. What, you think I would feel okay if somebody in a Republican state died because they couldn't get health care? I would hope not. I would hope nobody feels that way.
And I think it also speaks to a big difference between someone like Trump and someone like me or someone like Bernie, which is that Trump believes that if you don't vote for him, he doesn't have to be your leader. That if you didn't vote for him, that you don't deserve good things to happen to you. I don't care if someone voted for me or not. I don't care if someone is a Republican or an independent or a Democrat. I don't care if someone likes me or not. That will never change the fact that I'm going to fight for them to have health care. I want MAGA to have health care.
This is just such an improvement on messaging in the past. And frankly, a lot of liberals after Trump got elected said things like, well, maybe they just have to feel the pain. And this is a big problem with the constituency that the party has developed really since 2016. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Chuck Schumer saying that for every suburban Republican we pick up or rural voter we lose, we'll pick up a suburban Republican. They have tried to cultivate a base of professional class, upper middle class, upper class liberals that are largely insulated from the effects of these kinds of things. And it's created this disconnect where there are regular folks who feel like the Democrats aren't fighting for them. And they've also sidelined voices like Bernie Sanders and AOC. And you hear Graham Plattner embracing this as well, where this is what can transcend the darkness of fascism, which is the principle of neighborliness and of standing up for your fellow American. And that was amazing.
Yeah, it's well said. I'd be curious. I mean, I wish there was a way to sort of get like a focus group and get a sense of how people are reacting to this. But this is what the progressive wing of the party has to do. It has to both assume a leadership role in the context of the party and also simultaneously expand the base of the party and show an opening. And in many respects, that's what a Mamdani win will do, just purely on a narrative basis. That's what a Plattner win in Maine will do. It will create space and oxygen essentially for both for progressives and for sort of like, moderates and even conservatives will have to tack left in some way because they will see that's where the energy in the party is.
And the fight is, and the winning is, right? Like we've talked about this too. The winning is as important as anything because the myth that like the moderate centrist is going to be the defeating the Republican, that had been internalized by the Democratic base for 30, 40 years, and unwinding that is a longer process than it should have been. But I feel like we're finally here now. And that's why Zoran's victory is more than just New York City, commie blue area, whatever. It was the first moment where you see that this politics actually expands the base. It's a winning message, and it's something that creates a snowball effect where people want to be on the winning team. There is like the Democratic propaganda about Bernie made it so like people were like, oh, I don't want to get my hopes up because he could never win. Well, now maybe these people can win, and that gets people energized.
And to your
you have
point,
the record of losing from the folks who have been in charge.
Right.
well, I mean, that's that. Yeah. I mean, to that specifically in Maine, I think it's been 4 candidates in a row, 5.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that have been sort of handpicked by the Democratic Senate campaign committee, and they all have lost, despite like having a tremendous amount of resources. And so that's what makes that Maine race so important as well. But we'll see. We should really try and have Plattner on again.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.